So, let's say that a lot of people decide to not live within the confines of the Agenda 2030 prison cells. What would that look like? How will it work? Well, it's a good question, and that largely depends on the people. Communities are made of people and therefore are only ever as good as the people. As the old saying goes, like attracts like. So kind people will attract more kind people to make kind communities. Self-centered people will attract more self-centered people to make self-centered communities. And stubborn and lazy people will attract more stubborn and lazy people to create stubborn and lazy communities. This is important because your external experience will always reflect your internal beliefs, whether you're ready to admit this or not. Now, the prospect of eating insects, owning nothing, and being drugged won't appeal to a lot of people. And please take note that eating bugs, owning nothing, and drinking drugs is just the beginning. The parameters of the 2030 reset will always be evolving and tightening to surreptitiously remove more and more freedoms. Eventually, it will prove to be too much for a lot of people and force them to a life without modern conveniences of a civilized society. So, where will they go? Well, to keep this simple, I think there'll be 3 tiers of communities with varying shades of consciousness between them. The first tier of the 2030 fugitives will comprise mostly of people who just want to survive. They will pretty much reflect the attitudes and values of our current global society, but with less access to resources and creature comforts. Their mentality will be focused mainly on their own survival, much like the mentality of the world we live in now. Their resources, like food, water, power, exchange currency, and time, will belong to them and only them, unwilling to give an ounce of themselves for anyone in need. And again, much like the world we live in now, anyone in a less fortunate position will likely be left to fend for themselves with very little remorse. Most of the population in the first tier will see their own survival as the most important thing for the world and will do whatever it takes to make that happen. The mantra echoing these types of districts will be the already ubiquitous, "I need to look after me." These people will start off secure, but only last as long as their supplies last, and that's assuming their supplies aren't taken by someone else with the very same survival attitude as them. Other people will be seen as competition for remaining resources, and their dominant state of mind will be fear and scarcity. Once again, much like a lot of the world we live in today. In short, these communities will be smaller versions of the world now, but with no law in place. Tier 2 will comprise of more people who see some value in unity. Their resources like food, water, exchange currency, time, and power will be primarily theirs. However, they will be more willing to help those in need who are close to them and those who they trust. Small communities of 2 to 3 families may form to look after each other. There will be elements of people secretly hoarding their own supplies because they harbor a silent fear of not surviving. Again, showing those strong traits of the old adage, "I need to look after me." The element of competition and lingering mistrust is still present, but not as intense as in Tier 1. Perhaps other small communities are seen as antagonistic in competition for remaining resources. The risk of someone stealing or raiding supplies is lower than Tier 1, but the fear of it happening is still a constant nervous worry that people have to learn to live with. Scarcity and conserving out of fear is still a state of mind, but broken up with moments of relaxation. Tier 3 is a community of unity. People pool their resources and efforts for all contributing members to share and create abundance across all. These resources aren't just limited to food and water, this includes their skill sets as well. All the food and water in the world isn't going to build you a home or provide you power. Skilled and kind, loving people are required for these things. Peace is the dominant state of mind, and there's very little need for concern or worry. Community resources are just that, community resources, creating an even balance with more than enough for everyone. The atmosphere of abundance means no one has the desire to take any more than they need to because they always know more will be available. There's no need to hoard secret supplies or take without permission. The unified minds of all people mean obstacles like power sources, clean water sources, and food sources are overcome by using the combined genius of the community collective mind. The people of Tier 3 take the power of the people back from the decision makers of the old world and use it to rebuild the new world. This creates a new light way of life that is very difficult for most people to imagine. Money is long gone and new currencies of love take its place. The children of this way of life are only ever exposed to this new way of life. To them, there is no such thing as sex crimes, theft, murder, or greed. So what is it that will separate these different ways of life? Well, in one word, we could call it consciousness. But for a more universal understanding, I'm going to call it kindness. Basically, the kinder you are, the better your life. No more hiding behind bank accounts or possessions. Your life will reflect who you are and not what you can buy. These people here will be very busy looking after themselves, while these people here will have everyone else looking after them, while of course contributing in their own way to other people's lives. This is the infinite power of the new world. The difference between the three tiers of living is so vast. They sound like different worlds, and I guess in a way they kind of are. But the reality we experience post-2030 will come down to the smallest decisions we make in subconscious moments. So what to do? Be aware. Be honest with yourself. What do you like in moments of pressure? What do you like in moments of survival? Answer these questions to yourself honestly and don't judge the answer. To thrive on the other side of this, the opposite of our learned instincts are required. Survival of the fittest becomes survival of the most loving. We have to trust that saving others is actually what will save ourselves. When you look after others with pure intent, something much, much bigger than all of us will look after you.